Who's tracking over 1 million streams this week? We're going to find out in the episode coming up in just a little bit here. We're also going to find out who the 5 picks of the week are, including Kacey Musgraves coming back, as a matter of fact. Also, our Rising Star Spotlight of the week is a traditionalist who traded a career in oil refineries for the Grand Ole Opry. Got a ton of birthdays to celebrate this today. It's something we don't normally have because usually we only get like 1 or 2. Plus, our weekly pick is going to make you want to make sure you get on your nudie suits. All of that and more coming up in this episode of New on Music Row. Coming up right now. It's only on the Rise Network, though. Hey, it's Chris Miles. Welcome to episode 49 of New on Music Row. You know what? This week is a very special episode. Tomorrow, April the 25th in 2005, or 2025 rather, I'll get the date right sooner or later, was our first episode. And the cool thing is there's a link from that episode to this episode. Particular artists that we're featuring in the show from way back when, and then also from today as well. So it's kind of cool. Let's jump right in and take a look at the 5 picks of the week. Who hit the 1 million stream clubs? Well, I think if you were looking at the list last week, there's one that just sticks out without a doubt. And that 1 million streamer, actually 6.6 million streamer, is none other than Ella Langley, Bottom of Your Boots. Are we surprised? I'm not surprised because she's just gangbusters. And right now, she's just skyrocketing through her career in country music and coming along with some great stuff, you know. Bottom of Your Boots is also another great song. I think you're going to hear that on the radios fairly soon here, if you're not already hearing it. If you have Sirius XM, you've probably heard it maybe a few times by now. Up next, we had Warren Zyder's Drinking Game, 453,000 streams. Not bad for Warren. I think this song deserves a little bit more love. I think you'll start to hear it kind of broaden itself out now that it's got, you know, over 453,000 streams. I think you're going to hear it on some other radio stations fairly quickly here. Smoke I've Known featuring James Johnson and Chase Matthew, 184,000 stream for the native Australian. Not too bad. But we can get those numbers up there. You can go ahead and head on over to Spotify. Make sure you check out the playlist. New on Music Row is the title of it. You can find it exclusively on Spotify. We put all the songs that we play, or that we talk about, I should say. You can play those songs on that playlist. Every week we update it with brand new songs that we talk about from the week, from this show. Up next, Parmalee's God Knew Better, 662,000 streams. So real close. I mean, well, not real close, but kind of close to that 1 million stream mark, but not there just yet. But it's Parmalee. Give it another week, and I bet you it's going to be over 1 million streams. And last but not least, the wonderful Emily Ann Roberts, her song My Future, 264,000 streams. So Emily going strong, and her career is going to start to take a turn here. And I think you're going to hear more of her stuff on the radio fairly quickly. So the 5 picks of the week. We talked about this at the beginning of the show where I mentioned that a gentleman, well, I didn't say a gentleman, I said an artist, that's in the 5 picks of this week was actually featured in the 5 picks from the very beginning. Back in April of 2025. And the song that we featured all the way back then was called The Fall. I've kind of given away who it is already, but that song went huge for him. And I think the song that we have this week is going to go huge for him as well. Cody Johnson is who we're talking about. He's on tour currently, going to be headed in this direction fairly soon in the Chicagoland area. We'll talk about that, of course, when we talk about our the show's highlighting, or the live show highlights that I do, those little clip videos for you guys so you can pay attention to who's coming when. He's going to be coming in town. Emily Ann Roberts going to be opening for him as well, too. So it's going to be a great show. I Want You is the name of the song from Cody Johnson. You know, I mean, he's got some great stuff. The Fall, She Hurts Like Tequila, Dirt Cheap, The Painter, Till You Can't, Human. And that one kind of grew on me. It took me a while to get into that song. And then finally one day it just kind of clicked with me. And I was like, you know, that's a good song. And then also the duet that he does with Carrie Underwood, I'm Gonna Love You. Great song there as well. Up next, Kacey Musgraves. We talked about her in the intro. Another song for her coming out. Now, we featured Dry Spell about a month ago, and that's doing fairly well for her. And I think Middle of Nowhere is going to be another great one for her. She's got some great stuff coming out right now. I'm looking forward to hearing this album and to see where things go. I think she's starting to make a comeback. Like I said, we talked about Dry Spell a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago. Slow Burn's another great one from her. Space Cowboy, Butterflies. I mean, the list goes on. And of course, a lot of people know her for that song, Remember Everything, where she was featured with Zach Bryan as well. Up next from Jacksonville, Alabama, a guy who made a big name for himself because of the people he was seeing, and now he's heading back to his music, I guess, and acting for that matter. He was in what's the Yellowstone offshoot that's going on right now? He started. Well, he didn't star in that, but he was in that. I think his premiere or his debut was last Sunday. Of course, we're talking about Riley Green. My Way is the name of the song. He's from Jacksonville, Alabama. And, the song's going to do great for him. We already know that. But we'll see where things go. We'll get back to that next week. Up next, Max McNow, a guy who said, I've said before that if he's not on your radar, he needs to be on your radar. I'm repeating myself again, and for good reason. This kid is going to blow through the charts. And really make a name for himself. Just some great numbers coming out from him, some great stuff coming out from him as well too. And Heart You Didn't Break is the new one from him. You got to take a look at that, listen to it. It's going to be on the playlist on Spotify right there. New on Music Row is the title of that. Last song we featured of his was Standstill, also subtitled My. Turned Into Missing You is another one that features Avery Ann. Better Me For You, a lot more free. Same Questions, Forever, Ain't Long Enough. I mean, he's got some great stuff out there. You need to put him into your playlist if you haven't already. And then last but not least, Ernest making his way back into the 5 picks. Time is a Thief is the title of the latest cut from him, featuring Lucas Nelson. Ernest, got a great career going for him. Blessed was the last song that we featured on the show from him, but most of you probably know him from Flower Shops, maybe even from Hanging On and Would If I Could, that he did along with Lainey Wilson. But that is the 5 picks of the week. Let's take a quick recap here. I Want You, Cody Johnson. Middle of Nowhere, Kacey Musgraves. My Way, Riley Green. Heart You Didn't Break from Max McNow. And then Time is a Thief from Ernest featuring Lucas Nelson. Those are the 5 picks of the week. Of course, as always, leave me comments in the comment section if you want. Let's start a dialogue. What do you think? Did I miss the mark? Did I hit the mark exclusively? Some of you have, said to me in comments or just in DMs that every week you guys come to see the show just to check out the 5 picks of the week. And I just want to tell you that I really, really, really appreciate that. And there's no better way to tell you than right here in the middle of the show during the 5 picks of the week. So thank you so much for tuning in. Even if that's all you tune in for is the 5 picks of the week, I'm totally happy with that. However, I would suggest that you stick around and hear what's coming up next, because this is the part of the show where I tried to introduce you to some talent that maybe you don't necessarily know about just yet. Now, this guy I think you probably know about, but he's still kind of coming into his own, and he is part of the Opry Next Stage class of 2026, which we talked about last week. We're going to start featuring some of the artists from that particular class. We've already featured a few of them in previous episodes, but there's a couple of them there that I was like, you know what, we need to talk about them. So we're going to talk about a guy from LaPorte, Texas. This is the guy that I hinted at about how he left a career in oil refinery to basically make his debut at the Opry. Like I said, you probably know him, and the reason why you probably know him is because he was the runner-up on season 6 of The Voice in 2014. Interesting fact about him, he auditioned in season 5, but no one turned their chairs around. So, as sometimes happens on some of these shows, artists will come in for a season, and they will get, rejected, denied, or just said, you know what, keep trying at it. They go back, hone their craft, come back the next year, and bam, in this case, they make runner-up. And in this case, we're talking about Jake Worthington. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know him from the song It Ain't the Whiskey. That's kind of where he made his mark, along with, like I said, his season 6 runner-up placement on The Voice in 2014. But he's got a very interesting career, a very interesting background, and a very interesting way of doing his music. If you've seen Luke Combs, Riley Green, Miranda Lambert, or Zach Top, he's probably been recently, I should say, he's probably been the one that's opened for them. He has, like I said, a really, really cool story. He discovered his love for singing while recovering from a broken back sustained from a high school football game. And he says that if he wasn't a musician, he would likely be working in the oil refineries on the south side of Houston, which is a common career path for people in his hometown of LaPorte, Texas. Now, those of us that live here in Illinois, we know of a town called LaPorte, Indiana, but I didn't know there was LaPorte, Texas. That's the cool thing about this job is you start to find out like that there's towns all over the world, or even in this great nation, that are like towns that you are like pretty much in your back door, so to speak. Then also a really cool thing about him, he met his wife Sophie while he was deer hunting on his mentor's property over there in Oklahoma. He says, jokingly, of course, that after taking her hunting the morning after they met, he ain't been hunting since. See what he did there? Anyway. All right. So he is a family man. We'll back it up here a second. Him and his wife, Sophie, welcomed their first child, a daughter named Whitley Ann. Probably a nod to his hero, Keith Whitley, back in October of 2024. So she's going to be, what, 2 years old if I did the math right there? Yeah, so she'll be 2 years old come this October. He made his Grand Ole Opry debut in July 2023, receiving a standing ovation. And like I said, he was recently named part of the Opry's Next Stage class of 2026. And he's got a very traditional sound. Unlike the bro country that's out there right now, he says he's kind of rejecting that. And he tends to, his flavor tends to be more 90s style, traditional sound influence, like, Merle Haggard, George Jones, Keith Whitley, that earlier 90s sound as well. Some George Strait in there too. And he is a traditional country purist. He has admitted he actually loves to sing Prince songs in his private time, though. And there's a few people over there that tell him, hey, stop singing the Prince and, start writing some new stuff as well, too. But he is the Rising Star Spotlight of the week. Jake Worthington will feature a couple of songs of his on the playlist so you can check out and dive a little bit deeper. He's got a great song, My Home's in Oklahoma. I wonder if that's kind of an homage to like meeting his wife and stuff. Don't Think Twice has been the one that's on my on the repeat playlist for me this week. Not Like I Used to is another great one from him, and State You Left Me In. Those are all songs that he's kind of known for. It Ain't the Whiskey, Not Like I Used to, and State You Left Me In are the ones that kind of solidified his career, even though, of course, season 6, being the runner-up on season 6 of The Voice, kind of did something for him as well, too. But that is the Rising Star Spotlight of the week. Jake Worthington, of course, from LaPorte, Texas. Not to be confused with LaPorte, Indiana. If you live anywhere near the Chicagoland area, you know what I'm talking about. All right, moving on to today in country music history. We've got a ton of birthdays today, and I'm pumped about this because normally we only get like one, sometimes two, and today I think we have like 4 birthdays. So this is pretty cool. Now we are setting the Wayback Machine to the date April the 24th. And we're going all the way back to 1943. That's where we're going to start at. 1943, born on this day in Camden, New Jersey, was a guy by the name of Richard Anthony Sherbin. Does that name ring a bell for you? If you know older country music, you're probably going, oh, yeah, I know exactly who that is. Let me give you a hint, though. He's the singer from the Oak Ridge Boys. And they scored their first U.S. country #1 with I'll Be True to You in 1978. Sherbin, rather, has been inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2015, of course, as a member of the Oak Ridge Boys, and today is his birthday. So happy birthday, Richard Anthony Sherbin. Sorry, I mispronounced your name a little bit earlier in the broadcast. Apologies for that. But, sometimes we just kind of stutter over things. All right, 1979, going to a town called Slayersville, Kentucky. There's a gal out there by the name of Rebecca Lynn Howard. She was born in 1979, country music artist who had her highest peaking single was a song called Forgive. It peaked at number 12 on the country music charts in 2002. And that's kind of like what she's known for. But, I saw this and I was kind of like, oh, I don't remember her. And then I listened to the song and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember the song now. And it was one of those songs that, kind of like in the early 2000s that you were like, oh, this is a great song. And she has a great voice, such power. And she's still out there. But she's not making too much music anymore. But anyway, happy birthday to Rebecca Lynn Howard, born in the state in 1979. Born on 1980, a year later, was American country music singer Danny Goki. He won 3rd place, finalist in the 8th season of American Idol. His debut single, My Best Days Are Ahead of Me, lifted from his debut album. It debuted at the Billboard charts at number 4. It was the highest debut of digital downloads sold by a new country artist ever. And of course, then Danny would go on to have a pretty successful career as a Christian artist, as a matter of fact. So happy birthday, Danny Goki. From Milwaukee, if I remember correctly. I don't have the date, or I don't have that information with me, but I'm pretty sure if I remember from Idol, they said he was from Milwaukee. And last but not least, born on this day, 1990. This one kind of hit me by surprise because I never bothered to really look at how old or young this lady was, I should say. You're not supposed to say old when you talk about women who are over 29. Just saying that. All right. But when I saw this on the list of like on this date kind of stuff, I was like, really? Wow. So she was born in 1990. I was a junior in high school then. No, I was a sophomore in high school then. 2017, her debut single, Every Little Thing, peaked at number 1 on the U.S. country airplay chart. She was born in Taylor Mill, Kentucky. And the country music singer that we're talking about is Carly Pearce. I didn't realize that she was like in her 30s. I, for some reason, thought she was a little bit older than that. So anyway, happy birthday, Carly Pearce. That's the look at the birthdays for this date on April the 24th. Let's take a look at country music history now and see what happened here. We're going to go back to 1979. Ray Charles, Georgia on My Mind, was proclaimed the state song of Georgia. The music to the song was written in 1930 by Hoagy Carmichael, who also recorded a version of the song in New York in the same year. Ray Charles, of course, a native of Georgia, recorded in 1960 on the album The Genius Hits the Road. And if you've ever heard that song, it's absolutely amazing. It's such a great song. Hey, Ray Charles is just such an amazing artist as well, too. If you haven't gotten into his stuff, get into his stuff, too, because, oh, man, he's got some real soulful stuff there. 1982, The Survivors, which featured Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins, entered the country chart. The live recording was from a Johnny Cash concert in Stuttgart, West Germany, from the previous year when Lewis and Perkins, also on tour in Germany at the same time, showed up unexpectedly and were asked to perform on the second half of the show with Cash. The live tapes are edited and mixed by co-producer Rodney Crowell. Some interesting stuff there to check out. Go dig around the archives and see what you can find there. 1991, no surprise here, Garth Brooks won a record 6 times at the 26th Annual Academy of Country Music Awards on NBC. Wow, they were on NBC. The country singer won Entertainer of the Year, Top Male Vocalist, Best Album for No Fences, Single Record, Friends in Low Places, and, of course, Song and Video for The Dance, which actually is my favorite Garth Brooks song, by the way. I really love The Dance. I love to dance, too. But anyway, that's beside the point. Not that you need to know that. All right, let's go to 2000. Alan Jackson released his version of the Don Williams song, It Must Be Love. It became his 17th number 1 single on the U.S. Billboard Hot Country Singles and Tracks charts. And last but not least, in 2001, I stood outside of this recording studio a couple weeks ago when I was in Nashville, did a little bit of a promo there for you guys in front of it. Curb Records released Set the Circus Down, which was the 6th studio album from Tim McGraw. And there were 4 huge singles on that album. The Cowboy and Me, Unbroken, Angry All the Time, and Grown Men Don't Cry. All of them reached number 1 on the U.S. country chart. And that's a look at today in country music history. Of course, we're talking about April 24th, taking a look back through all of that great stuff. Happy birthday to everybody who's got a birthday going on today. Happy birthday if you've got a birthday going on today as well. We want to celebrate you in everything that you are, too. All right, let's move on to the weekly pick. Last but not least for the show, this from a band called Midland. And earlier on, if you heard me make that little nudie suit reference, then you know who I'm talking about, if you know who Midland is. If not, then I suggest you do a little dive into them. They've got a great sound. They call themselves more of a honky-tonk kind of band. They say that their music belongs in dance halls, honky-tonks, and anywhere else folks like a steel guitar. All the guys are from Dripping Springs, Texas. And the song that we're featuring this week, or what we're featuring this week for the weekly pick, because sometimes we feature artists in this section, but lately I've been finding some songs that I think are real gems, so we'll see how that trends. Maybe we'll talk about artists too. But anyway, Drinking Dark Whiskey from Midland, which actually is a cover of a honky-tonk classic, which was co-written by Chris Stapleton and Mike Henderson. And there are originally Gary Allan did it, and then the Steel Drivers did it as well. Steel Drivers version is more of like a classic, almost acoustic a cappella kind of thing. Gary Allan is typical Gary Allan, so it's kind of what you expect. But this version, really more of a rockabilly kind of sound, and I think it's a great tune for them. Midland, of course, probably best known for songs like Glass Half Empty. They were featured on Mackenzie Carpenter's I Wish You Would. Drinking Problem is probably the biggest song that you guys know for them. Burnout, Cheating Songs, and then Make a Little as well. Now, here's the cool thing about how that band got started. They officially formed when the three members reconnected at bassist Cameron Duddy's wedding in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. They jammed together for the first time during the wedding week, and then they realized that they had immediate musical chemistry. So that's kind of where they got started. They have a huge connection to Dwight Yoakam. Their name, of course, inspired by the song Fair to Midland, which is by Dwight Yoakam. Here's the cool thing. Before the band took off, Cameron Duddy was actually a highly successful music video director. He won an MTV Music Award or Music Video Award for directing Bruno Mars' Locked Out of Heaven, and then also directed Mars' 24K Magic as well, too. So kind of cool, interesting thing. They got their own tequila. They launched it back in 2020. It's called Insolito, featuring three different expressions: Blanco, Afeo, I think I pronounced that right, I'm not sure, and then Rospado. I've never tried it. I'm not a big tequila guy, but if you have, leave me a note in the comment section. I'll definitely try it if you guys think it's it's any good. And other interesting news about the band: lead singer Mark Weisstrack previously worked as an actor and underwear model for brands like Calvin Klein, and he was signed with IMG Modeling Agency before. And like I said, the band they like to say that they emphasize their music belongs in dance halls, honky tonks, and pretty much anywhere folks still like a steel guitar. Cameron Duddy notes they avoid being heavy and boring, as he likes to call it, aiming instead for a balance between technical musicianship and accessible entertainment. The band identifies themselves as a country rock and roll group rather than just strictly Americana. They describe their sound as a country filter for diverse influences like the Rolling Stones, George Strait, and the Eagles as well. Now, last but not least, if you've seen them in concert, you know that they're famous for wearing a unique vintage style get up, we'll say, often wearing elaborate rhinestone-encrusted nudie suits, which are inspired by the original designs of Nudie Cohen. So that's where the whole homage to the nudie suit thing came from. I'd love to see this. I didn't get a chance to look up any of the footage, the live footage of them to see them in these suits, but I got to imagine it's got to be hilarious and it's got to be tons of fun, just like this song. So the weekly pick of the week, of course, Drinking Dark Whiskey by Midland. It will feature it on the playlist. You can only find it on Spotify. It's called New on Music Row, and you can only find this New on Music Row from the Rise Network in various formats. On YouTube, you can check out the what did I call it? The vlog? No, not the vlog. The vodcast. That's what it is. The vodcast. That's what I've officially titled this. It's a vodcast. So you can see the vodcast on YouTube. You can catch all the shorts. We do a couple of cool shorts every week. And then if I say something kind of funny during the show, we'll put that up there as well, too. And then last but not least, you can check us out in podcast form on Spotify and Apple Music and pretty much anywhere that you can find podcasts nowadays. And it's all because of the Rise Network. Thank you guys so much for my 1 year anniversary. I can't say thank you enough. Thank you to you guys as well, too, for sticking around for a whole year and listening to me and helping me grow and giving me the information, the criticism, constructive criticism that you've given me to help me become a little bit better and focusing on the things that I can do to make the show amazing. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. 1 year. I can't believe it's been a year already. But we're looking forward to growing and doing some great things for you. Of course, keep it locked here for the latest and greatest in country music, and also for a little throwback every once in a while. And we'll see you next week. And until then, I'll see you on the flip side.